Things Gary does.
Alright, are we all ready for some painting? Yeah, we're ready for some painting. I wasn't ready for some painting, but here I went anyway. Here we go. Now this video sped up like a ton because it took me a long time to do it. Let's go. Alright, so here we go. And I fiddled around for like 20 minutes. I had no idea what I was going to draw. I haven't drawn at all. I haven't digitally painted on my regular tablet in a long time, and this is the first time I've used Photoshop for digital painting with my new computer. So there's a lot of getting used to, again, things going on, which is why, which contributed to the fact that I had no idea what I was going to draw or what I wanted to draw. And so this is me using almost every method that I've heard about or known about to try to find something to draw. And here I'm trying to find like maybe some sort of creature or character, and then I turned it, and maybe I thought, oh, maybe there's some person caught in a tentacle-y thing, and there's this giant thing that's about to eat them, and it's menacing and scary. And then I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And then I changed it, and it was like some branches, and then it's gonna be like a tree or something. And I was like, oh, maybe dark and scary tree, and it'll be in a swamp or something. And I was like, no, that's no cool. And I started flipping around trying to find something else. And here I'm trying to use a filter to figure something out, but that doesn't work, and I get frustrated, and so I start drawing in something else. And we start to find something sort of abstract in there, and it's like a bird. And I'm not sure why I'm drawing this bird gonzo thing, and trying to figure out maybe it's another person being grabbed by this weird thing. But I'm still not sure, you know, it's just scary. I'm really scared. No, seriously, this is like usually the point where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't draw. There's no way that I'm going to be able to draw anything. And then, lol, what? And so at that point, I give up. And I'm like, okay, well, we're just going to fiddle with this. We're going to turn it and mirror it and just draw on it, because I've already decided that I'm never going to make it as an artist. And so I'm just going to noodle around, which I find is probably the most reliable technique to actually get something done, is when you admit that you're not an artist, that you're no good, and that you'll never amount to anything. Oh, this was kind of interesting. After all that, I thought that I was actually going to find a character. If you look at the top thing that I pulled out, it looks like maybe like a fox face or some sort of creature thing, and so that's what I'm trying to figure out, what it is down below. In a moment I give up and resort back to my solitude of fear. And then this, I was like, oh, maybe it's like a demon connect, and I'll make a funny joke about connect being a demon thing. And I was like, no, that's dumb. And I was going to make it into a big tower, maybe a tower with some buildings below it. And then I was like, no, that's dumb. And so I decided to make the canvas bigger, and we're going to go with something that I actually stick with, which is, you'll see in a second. Oh, you see there? Look at that. Look at that. Perspective, rules, some sort of structure, except now I'm just noodling. It's really interesting to look back through this, because this whole thing took me like 2 hours, which is a lot longer than it had any right to be. But actually it got to be kind of fun at the end, and at this point I'm like, okay, this is sort of working. Maybe we can make this little cool hallway thing, and like these two walls look like some sort of oriental decoration of some kind, and I'm playing Sleeping Dogs now, so I'm all about that. And so here I'm just plotting all the things. Look at that, a vanishing point. Look at that, I went to drawing school. Vanishing points. And then here, this is where I avoid actually drawing, because I'm using my little tablet, which I don't know how I've drawn all of these years on this little tiny tablet thing. It sort of baffles my brain thinking about it, because it's really hard. I've been drawing on like real paper or on like a Cintiq or anything, and it just feels so much better than going back to this. It's like, are you serious? How does anyone do anything with this? So, I'm avoid doing that by just using the polygonal, that's the word, polygonal lasso tool to put all these, you see, I was still stumped. I still wasn't sure what I was doing. And so here we go. Polygonal lasso tool to shortcut all of these things, and before you know it, look at that. All these wall structures, all this architecture. I'm like, what is his name? Frank Lloyd Wright, except abstract as hell. Or I don't know, just bad. I'm gonna call it abstract, but really it's just bad. Then there we go. You see walls, and now we're gonna put some. Oh, that was a cool trick. I used the select by color because all of the cracks that I had between all the polygonal things was one color, so I was able to select it and isolate it. And I was gonna like, oh, maybe I'll get it all Tron, and it'll be all crazy. And then in a second, I decided that's a bad idea, and I just go straight back to black. So there we went back to that. And here I'm sort of deciding what to do because it's not something I can call finished, but I'm getting anxious to be done. And so I'm trying to add lighting. And then I was like, oh, well, if this thing could use decoration, look at that. Put a circle in there, defining the shape. Oh yeah, taking forever. Take your time. It's good. It's fine. And this actually, eventually this turned out to be okay, but right now I'm still like, this is awful. This is terrible. I'm no kind of artist. This is awful. This is awful. That's usually what my internal dialogue is through most of the things I draw, unless it's like a very special case. But you can see, at least you can tell it's like this wormy thing poking out from this weird wall. And actually, as I was getting through, I was like, oh, this kind of reminds me of the architecture in Halo 4, because it was all semi-Tron, but like more organic-ish, which I don't know if mine's just more organic or if it's just like deformed. But here we go. The nice thing about the polygonal lasso tool is that you can really change the light really easily with just gradients. So you can see I just select an area, cut out an area, and then just throw some light on there with some, I think I've got it on like overlay or screen or something like that to get the light in there. But yeah, pretty basic stuff. I mean, it's just a lot of light and darkness and, oh, here, I'm trying to find some texture, which you can get a lot of free texture if you've been really messy like I usually am, by just sharpening the crap out of it and then using that sharpened version of your picture and multiplying or just overlaying that over your regular picture. You see I get all this little nice grain stuff here and there, and it looks all janky and a little bit sharp in places, and it's just a free grit. Free bacon and grits for your painting. And they're just doing some more cleaning, if you can call it cleaning. And here I'm still trying to figure out some more texture in a few places, just trying to make it actually look finished, even though it's definitely not going to be finished. And there you see, that's the fun thing. Like, I was having a lot of fun at this point, because you can just mess with the layers and the filters and really just mess with all of the digital fun packages to try to get some fun stuff to use. And really, I was really panicking initially in this drawing, but at the end, I kind of just submitted myself to the mediocrity and just was like, let's have some fun and just do some drawing, painting, whatever this is. And I've enjoyed myself. I mean, this is not like my favorite drawing ever, but this was fun. This was cool. This was like, I was like, okay, let's go really crazy with this. And so just scribbled some lines and then did some filters to it. And now I'm just deforming and copying it. And now I'm going through the cutout filter, which gives me this really cool like camo, I don't know what you want to call it. It's just got all these really sharp shapes and it looks like a really cool texture. And so I just started spamming that everywhere and just applying it to everything because it had this little cool feel, and it made it look more interesting than just the flat panels, even though simplicity is best. I'm really tired of simplicity. Sometimes you just gotta get complex, even though, I don't know, I'm making a lot of excuses and backtracking, but this was fun. I really enjoyed doing this texture-y bit. So I do that for a while because it's really fun, and find out it helps out my lighting, which is awesome. And at the end, I just kind of put in all the atmospheric lighting, which makes things look all unified and shizzle. And that'll be about it that I do with this painting. Get all the lighting looking at least okay. And then I think I put everything on one layer and I make a Gaussian blur, and then I mask it, and so I get something resembling a depth of field effect. I don't like to use that too much because it's really easy to make your picture really muddy. But that's all. And with that, it's pretty much done, which I'll announce in a second. Done! Cool. So that was fun. And catch you next time. Bye. Things done.